Howdy, y'all. We are talking about Epic Roller Coaster DLCs today. So Epic Roller Coaster, if you don't know, is kind of this very much a VR arcade style game where you just hop into a roller coaster cart and you go through all the scenery and stuff that the game gives you. The way they monetize it is that you get the game for free. It comes with 3 free courses, which are pretty good, pretty average courses in general, according to most of our ratings. And then you're able to purchase all of the other courses. The courses, there's tons of them, and they can cost up to $60 to get the whole thing. So instead of going through all of them yourselves, we figured we'd give you a little list to look at it. So joining me is Pow Pow, right? Oh, where is he? There he is. There's Pow Pow. And then we got Shoes joining as well. Shoes is doing an article on a very similar topic with Epic Roller Coasters, and you can find the article linked below. Before we get into the top 10, I just want to talk about some of the ones to avoid, and those are the ones that we're considering super trash tier. And those are Twilight, Bled, and Candyland. Twilight's $2.99 and the other two are $1.99 for the DLC. I really suggest avoiding those. Pow Pow, Shoes, do y'all have any comments on those, or just don't touch them?
You know, for me, it's Bled. I'll say they are trash to me. But Bled, a special shout out to the guy taking a photo who almost gets his head taken off by the roller coaster that goes by him. That's funny, but not worth $2 in your time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Candyland, I don't know, that was like a weird fever dream. Like, the set is so bonkers. You're like in this airplane hangar that had a bunch of gummy bears living in this Candyland. But like, it's so weird. It's just terrible, but it's weird.
Mm-hmm. If you have kids, I could see Candyland being like one to potentially get, but that would only be if they're super scared of the regular coasters in VR, which is definitely not the same as doing an actual coaster in real life. So I could see it having a niche use case, but for just someone who's looking to play this game, I really doubt that anyone's going to enjoy getting Candyland, to be honest. All right, well, going to top 10. Number 10 on our list, the way we did this is we ranked them all separately, then we put them together, averaged everything out, and we got our top 10 list. And starting out, we're going to Armageddon, which is $2.99. Pal's ranking on this one is the one that brought it into the top 10. He had it at 9, whereas Shoes and myself had it at 14. Pal, what did you love so much about Armageddon, the zombie one?
You get a real good vibe of, if you've ever played the game Last of Us, it's just like it. It felt like it was taken just out of even the show that was recently filmed. There's a few scenes that you go through. A lot of the tracks feel like you're just seeing one scene throughout the whole thing. But this one takes you through like a whole story, it feels like. Going through the quarantine zone.
Mm-hmm. That's a theme that we see a lot, is like that some of them, especially the ones that are more like terrifying, they'll slow you down. Like they'll bring you into a building and they'll slow you down as like things pass by you. It's kind of telling a story.
Yeah, it's like you're in a haunted house kind of thing.
Choose, what do you think about it?
Well, I think that's the surprising thing about this game. You think like, oh, Epic Roller Coasters, I'm just going to be riding a bunch of roller coasters. But like, for some of them, they really tell a story. And there is some interesting storytelling going on. There's scenery. And I think that's what brings a lot of these up. It's like, this game has kind of a lot to offer. It's surprising. I think a lot of people passed on it. They're like, oh, my first VR headset, I played Epic Roller Coaster once, or it made me sick, or it was silly. They've really put some time and effort into this game. And like, kind of that's part of the reason we kind of looked into this, right? Like, they're doing a lot with this stuff. For me, Armageddon, there was a ton of coaster jumps. So something you obviously can't do in real life, like jumps, like where there's no courses. I think this counted like 5, so this might be like the most jumps in any course.
Yeah, I think it did.
A really fun ending. For me, it was a little unfocused. You have the creepy fun side. I totally agree with you, Paul. Like, it's The Last of Us. But then, like, for some reason, you're out in the forest at the second half.
Yeah, it really slowed down for some reason.
Yeah, it was just 2 rides for me, but, a good ride. It's still top 10 for sure.
I agree. And then, speaking of one that tells a story, well, kind of tells a story, but doesn't, but Shoes didn't like it, I was surprised by this, is Lost Forest, our number 9. Number 9, $2.99. Me and Pal both had this sitting at number 9 on our list, but Shoes had it at 17. Shoes, what do you not like about Lost Forest?
It was this really long ride, fantasy world. To me, it just didn't tell a cohesive story. There was all these fighting and unique characters. There was a spider that climbed onto your lifeboat. That was kind of exciting. Yeah. I don't know if we're doing spoilers here or not, but like, I don't know. The ending was different, where like this giant monster picked you up, but like he didn't do anything with it. Like I thought it was a missed opportunity. He could have thrown you or something fun or wacky. And I think that's kind of a theme with some of these rides, where it's like they don't know how to end it. I don't know. For me, it didn't just it didn't bubble up to the top.
Pal, you were feeling like me. You put it at 9. What were your opinions on Lost Forest? Why did you like it so much?
The Hydra was awesome, I thought.
Yeah. Oh, that was cool. I forgot about that.
There was these neon giants that were fighting that reminded me a lot of the kaiju from Pacific Rim, the deformed human monsters, the witches and lizard people. I mean, it just had everything from mythology, you know? It was just eye candy galore.
Yes,
I just had so much fun looking around.
All right, pal, you want to take us into Haunted Castle?
Yeah, Haunted Castle, I had around an 8 out of 10. Felt like you're in Transylvania, kind of, with Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little too slow for my taste. No lightning effects, which I thought was a missed opportunity because you're outside and really creepy overtone, but I don't know, they didn't really do anything with it.
That's fair. I also had it a very similar rank as you. I had it around the 15 mark as well, but this is actually Shoes number 2. I have a feeling I know exactly where he's going with it. For $2.99, I feel like it told a really fun story, and it also did a couple of little jump scares, which is something that I feel like this game could have done a little bit more of, even though I'm not a huge fan of jump scares in general. But number 2 on the list, that was a big one for you.
Yeah, I'm not a big scary guy either. Like, I don't love it, but like they did it so right. Like, you traverse through multiple levels of this haunted house at night. They just set the ambiance right. There are some parts that go fast, but then it's a real slow pace through this house. I mean, you name it, they got it. They got the mannequins, they got the ring girl, they got spiders. There's a jump scare toward the end that just, even though I knew it was coming, I've watched it read a few times, it still gets me every time. It just, oh man. And like, I don't know, I just thought it was really well done and creepy. And even when I knew, like I said, the jump scare was there, it still got me. I felt like it hit me on every single note, even though I'm not a scary guy. But yeah, number 2 for me. Absolutely, I loved it.
Good to know for the people who like the stories. If Shoes definitely ranks based on the stories for the most part. So number 2 to be noted.
I'm more about the eye candy, if anything.
That's fair.
So we're doing Halloween next?
Doing Halloween next, going into number 7.
Yeah, this one was fun. I like this one a lot. It reminded me a lot of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Silly and scary. A lot of skeletons and dancing jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah.
Only complaint I had was they just kept on reusing the assets over and over. Like the same skeleton, same jack-o'-lantern.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of gets old. But overall, still fun.
I kind of felt that way throughout the whole game, was that they definitely were reusing assets, even in like newer environments. Our number 2 on the list is actually the only one where it didn't feel as much like they were reusing assets. But yeah, for me, it was quirky, it was funny. I liked the music in it a lot, because I actually have this one ranked higher than either of y'all. Just the humor in general was enough to kind of bring it over the edge for me. But I really enjoyed it. It was the first one that I had that was ranked really high above all the rest of them that I tried prior to getting to some of the future packs.
Yeah, this just missed my top 10, but it's very good. It felt like a Disney ride, like a Disney Halloween kind of thing. Like Haunted Castle, that's like traditional scary. The Halloween for me felt more like a kid's kind of fun, lighthearted, scary, you know. And where it got me again, story, the second half, it almost felt like it was another ride. It speeds up really fast, gives you this blind track jump. It's a fun course, but again, I was like on 2 different rides, I felt like. But really good time.
All right, well, heading into number 6, pal. How do you pronounce this one?
Iwana.
There we go.
This one I love. It reminded me of a lot of Ragnarok, from Thor. Great graphics, lava flow, rocks blowing up everywhere. Remember, just a side note, you got to do it twice. If you want to see the downfall of Ragnarok, you got to go through the lap twice. And it's a really short course, which is kind of the only downfall of the course, but fun one. Really, really, really pretty one.
To me, it had so much action in it that I was worth going through a second time. And I'm glad that I did go through it a second time, because the game does a pretty poor job of like signaling when the thing's over sometimes for the ones that can repeat. So I actually almost left without doing the second one. So it's easy to leave without doing the second ride. But it's just really fun. It's really high intensity, like some of the other high intensity ones that didn't quite make the top 10 list, because there's a good mixture of both in all of these top 10s. But it had a lot of really high intensity ones, things threw you around, and it kind of told that little story. Now, Shoes, I was surprised by Shoes ranking here. Me and Pal had this like top 6, top 7, but Shoes had it at 15. Shoes, why?
Well, I mean, I agree with everything that you guys said. It was an interesting story. I like the Easter egg in a way. It's good and bad. You have to run through it twice to see it, but you're right. Like you could have easily gone through it and been like, well, that was kind of meh. because the second half is really where you kind of get the completion of the story.
Yeah.
It was really fast, which was great, but it was over so quick. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm riding the same course again to see the second half. I don't know. It just didn't grab me. Again, it was my like 15th. It just missed the top 10. It wasn't terrible. It was a fun deal. I just didn't love it as much.
Totally fair. Well, we're getting into the top 5. Shoes, where are we going?
We're going to Wyvern Siege. So that is number 8, made the top 10 for me, obviously. Good build up to the ride and story in the beginning. Just a fun coaster. Had a really great environment with like a Game of Thrones kind of thing, right? It's
Like Skyrim.
like a Skyrim kind of thing. Yeah, that kind of dragon.
Feels very Skyrim, I agree.
Great environment, there's burning trees, citizens are just running around screaming, there's this dragon flying around, you get shot out of a turret, that was super fun. Again, the ending, they really dropped the ball on the ending, but like, a good time still.
I actually kind of liked the ending, I thought. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember it. I didn't want to spoil it, so I didn't write it down. But I remember being really impressed by it. It was cinematic, I thought.
Oh, cinematic, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the more cinematic ones.
And I just loved to have all the arrows being shot at you and sticking in your cart. That was a really cool scene. It was a really fun one. Yeah, it's like being in the world of Skyrim, though. And if you're into that, you're going to love it.
I completely
drag.
agree. I actually had this a little lower than y'all's, and I was surprised. I thought this one was going to be higher for me whenever I initially ranked it. It was really good. I think where I took off some points from it was just, I think the reused textures. This is one of the last ones that I played, and I think that got to me near the end, where like I kind of felt like some things were reused, especially for like people textures. So yeah, I think that I may have been a little harsher on this course than I probably should have been.
No, but that's fair. Because, again, reused assets is the big problem with this game. I think.
Yes, I completely agree. All right, but we're getting into top 4 shoes. What are we looking at?
We're looking at Snowland. This one, if I told you, hey, you're out in like the snowy environment and there's a bunch of wildlife going around and that's the roller coaster, you'd be like, okay, what of it, right?
Yeah.
But this course really makes you feel it in the pit of your stomach. There's blind drops, blind jumps, and some really unique track movement that I was always guessing, like, where are we going with this track? What are we doing? And there's multiple environments, lots of wildlife to keep the scenery interesting. I just, start to finish, this was just grabbed me and didn't let go. So good.
I loved Snowland too. I went into Snowland and was like, this is just going to be another average course. It's the same cost. It was like $2.99 like the rest of the ones that have so far been listed. And I was like, this is just going to be really average. I loved it. Every single time I was like, wow, this is like a top half one. And then like more things would happen. I'd be like, this is the top 25% one. And until eventually I put it in the top 4. For me, Shoes also put it at number 4 for him. Pal at 17 though. Pal, what did you not? Do you not like the cold?
I just thought it was a little boring. I like the sound effects a lot. Like when you're going through the ice cavern and you hear the ice crackling above you, like it's getting ready to fall on you. That was pretty cool. But other than that, I just thought, nothing really to look at. You see a polar bear here and there, but nothing really to write home about. Nothing bad, but I would skip it in mine. Personally.
Completely fair. No, everyone's entitled to the opinion, even if it's wrong, pal. Even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm never wrong though, so.
Oh, that's true. That's my bad. That's my bad. All right, well, going into number 3, we have the only course that is $1.99 on this list. Luckily, at number 3, Shoes.
It's the newest one, Dynasty Dash. You're in sort of a feudal Japan, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's China, because you on the Great Wall of China. It's very like kind of shogun-like, very very of the time, I guess. Tons of action. You're in the middle of 2 warring factions. There is a stylized dragon flying around, and just there's so much action. People dying left and right. I mean, again, they're telling a story here in this roller coaster game. And then that being said, like tons of ups and downs and twists in this like cool lush environment. I don't know, Squashy, if you felt that they were reusing assets. To me, it felt pretty fresh.
It was pretty fresh. There was definitely a little bit of reuse, but I mean, like within reason. Like for me, Dynasty Dash felt within reason on the asset use.
What really jumped out to me was the track change. Again, there's been track changes, there's different jumps, but like this track change where it like kind of snaps off and breaks. You've never seen that before in one. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. So like they're always reinventing and finding new stuff. Just a really great ride, and just the set piece. You're in this big, cool set piece.
Pal, what do you think?
Oh man, this one was so fun. This is the only one I rode like 5 or 6 times. I couldn't get enough of this one. Going through the Great Wall, going through the towns, and you're seeing all these towns fighting each other with the flaming arrows going everywhere, and Shoes is right. This one really tells a story. You're right in the middle of it being told. Tons of turns, and it's super beautiful.
It's gorgeous. It's the newest one. It's surprisingly the cheapest one on the list. It's really solid. And by the way, we talked about a lot of differences in rank in these last 7 or so. These top 3 that we're going through, Dynasty Dash and then the next 2, these were pretty unanimous. Like, not necessarily in the exact same order, but they were all in our top level courses. There was no Pal or myself putting it at like a really high number. But all right, let's get into number 2. And this is the one that probably a lot of people, when they look at the DLC list, are very interested in. We actually put the entire pack at number 2, and that's the SpongeBob DLC pack, which is $10, $9.99. It comes with 5 different courses, which is Glove World Espresso, Ghost Coaster, My Krabby Patty, Sunday at Goo Lagoon, and Snow Slide. Only 2 of those are kind of misses. Snow Slide especially was near the bottom of all of our lists. And My Krabby Patty, I actually had it decently high, like in the top 15 or so. Pow and Shoes had it pretty low. And then one that ended up in all of our top 5s were Glove World Espresso, Ghost Coaster, Sunday at Lagoon. They're so fun. They offer different things. They're not all the same. Like Sunday at the Goo Lagoon is kind of a longer one that takes you through like a full story, whereas Ghost Coaster is almost like a kid version of the Haunted Castle. So this one was just really fun. At number 2, really suggest grabbing this one, as you get 5 total courses. You know, totaling that up, that's $1.99 for each one. So I think well worth it. Pal, what did you think about the SpongeBob DLC pack?
Can't disagree with anything you said there. The Snow Slide, bad, I thought. Just terrible. It wasn't even a roller coaster. I don't even know why they put it in the game. I should say that I've only seen SpongeBob a few times with my niece, so I don't really know all the characters very well. So like, I probably won't appreciate it as much as others. Sunday at Goo Lagoon, Glove World, and Ghost Coaster are awesome. Top 3 courses maybe in the entire game. The Glove World one, there was a big drop where my stomach literally went into my throat. I couldn't believe how realistic it felt. So much color. Loved it, all of it. Funny scenes everywhere.
I've only seen a handful of SpongeBob episodes. You know, I know it, but I'm not like a huge super fan. And like, don't let that put you off on getting this pack. Like, this is legit. Like, this is absolutely worth the price of admission. Glove World Espresso, I'll just say, like, this is an incredible course. Like, this is a culmination of everything that they have learned put into this course. Like I said, those drops are insane. There's tons of different environments. It's just an incredible job of being in this world of SpongeBob and Patrick. You're seeing them on rides. You're interacting with other characters. You see this tall coaster in the background when you start, and you're thinking, am I going to be able to go on that? Is that part of the course? Like, it looks comical. It's so far in the background. It's so tall. You're like, do I get to go on that? And then when you go on it, like I said, that is the part that it is so intense. Like, this is the most probably intense course in the game. And
I think so too.
I love, and this is I don't want to spoil this Easter egg because it's just so worth it. But there's an Easter egg in that Glove World Espresso that I just, huge smile on my face. And I was like, oh, brilliant. It was just brilliant. And I loved it. Really don't skip out on this one. Don't skip out on this one.
I say starting at like Snowland and up, those are the ones that are like absolutes. Like, these are just incredible games. And SpongeBob having some of the top 3, top 4 courses just in that one pack is so worth it. Before we get to number 1, I do want to shout out some of the honorable mentions, the ones that may have been on our individual top 10 list but didn't make it into the culmination of the averages of the scores. One that's completely free that was on Pal's number 5 is Rockfall. Pal loved this one. It comes free with the game. Pal, you loved it. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, I guess this wasn't a favorite of everybody else's, but I thought they did a really good job of taking you through like you're in the Grand Canyon almost. And you're going through rock slides, boat tumbling down the rapids, crashing into a mining cavern. I just thought it was really fun.
For free, it's a really great time. Like, it comes with the game. I feel like it's a really great example. The other ones that come free with it aren't as great of example as some of the ones that we have gotten to experience in the top 10. Other honorable mentions to shout out are Dreadblood, a lot more of a story that Shoes had at number 9, and Neon Rider, kind of a mixture of a story and a thrill ride, where Shoes had that at number 10, a lot brighter. Shoes, did you have any notes you wanted to toss on those two?
Yeah, Dreadblood. That's like 8 minutes of terror. It's like a Saw style game, like coaster. It's both the slowest and one of the fastest. It is absolutely creepy and haunting. High scare factor and moments of just intense roller coastering. Just a great story again with lots of supplemental imagery, action, and just storytelling throughout. Neon Rider, again, you said it early at the top. It's the storytelling for me. It has this like Terminator vibe with kind of twists and turns right in the beginning. You're like, what is happening? I thought I was playing a roller coaster game. So out of the ordinary for this game. When you get started properly, you notice that you're on this neon track and it doesn't have rails to kind of pull you up the hills, which means that there's no clicking sound, and so it's much faster and smoother movement. You know, you're up in the sky at one point, you're down on the ground. It's just this futuristic ride. It just, you're trying to avoid getting killed by robots, this Terminator theme. It's just an intense ride. I loved it.
Awesome. Good to hear. And the last thing I want to shout out is there is a DLC that's called Hypercart that makes you go a little faster on courses. Only $1. It's 99 cents to grab. If you find yourself enjoying a lot of the more intense rides, things like Tijuana Volcano or Tropical Paradise or other ones that are just like really fast and tipsy-turvy, I think you'll enjoy getting the Hypercart. I think it's worth the $1. No more shenanigans. We're getting into the top one. The number one on our list for $2.99 is T-Rex Kingdom. T-Rex Kingdom really kind of brings to life the idea of the Jurassic Park roller coaster. You're getting through it, it's telling a story, things go off the rails, you're getting chased, you're getting snapped at by different dinosaurs. The actual movement around is really fun. And this is the one that pretty much we kind of unanimously agreed was really tied with things like Ghost Coaster and Glove World Expresso from SpongeBob DLC pack. Just so much fun, really loved it. Shoes, what do you have to say about T-Rex?
Yeah, just tons of fun, tons of different dinosaurs, some real, some probably fake, I don't know. Like, the imagination ran wild here.
Yeah.
I loved the unique track cart movement, how you're going backwards at one point, you feel that, and just, it really tells a story. You're high, you're low, you're up, you're down, and it's a good ride too.
Yeah.
Like, just top to bottom. Even though this, I feel like, was an earlier course of theirs, they've really knocked out of the park, and had some really cool ideas.
Completely agree. Pal, what do you think?
Oh my goodness. I felt like I was at Universal Studios. I swear. It felt like this should have been a ride. I would have waited a couple hours in line to ride this ride. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
The T-Rex looking down at you, getting ready to eat you. Is he going to eat you or not? The raptors running alongside your cart, pterodactyls taking hold of you, throwing you onto another track.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
that was
God,
great.
it's just so much fun. I can't get over it. This was so much fun.
Yeah, just a blast. Just an absolute blast. And there you have it, y'all. That's our top 10. Going in order from first to last, we have T-Rex Kingdom, SpongeBob DLC Pack, Dynasty Dash, Snowland, Wyvern Siege, Tijuana Volcano, Halloween, Haunted Castle, Lost Forest, and Armageddon. So thank you to Pow and Shoes for hopping on. If you have any questions, ask him down in the comments, and please go read Shoes' article down there. He is writing an article for the Rough Talk VR podcast, folks. They have a fully fleshed out website, so definitely go check that out. Thank y'all so much for watching. It's always a great time doing this with Pow and Shoes. Again, if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments. One thing that I did want to say as kind of a review of Epic Roller Coaster, because it's the first time that I played it, was doing this with Pow and Shoes. I did like Epic Roller Coasters a lot. I thought it was really fun. Luckily enough, they do have the kind of the free demo with the 3 things. I would really suggest before you buy any DLC, don't just watch this and go purchase a bunch of stuff. Go and play the game as it comes with those first 3, especially Rockfall. It's kind of the better of the 3 that are given. And then, you know, make your decision on whether or not you enjoy that. Because if you did not enjoy Rockfall at all, you're not going to enjoy these DLCs. So just a heads up, I feel like it's a game that really provides you a good insight to its style of gameplay. It does have 2 other modes in it, which were shooting mode and a racing mode. Both of those are kind of lackluster in my opinion. The few things that do have like actual mechanical movements don't move mechanically. They more like a flick of a switch than it is anything else. You don't like physically grab something like whenever you're trying to do the toggle forward for race. When it comes to shooting, I don't particularly think that's fun. Like the shooting mechanic isn't that great. So really, I think if you're gonna like Epic Roller Coasters, you're going to like it because of the initial gameplay of just being able to sit back, be in a roller coaster, and have a good time. I just wanted to provide that because I felt like that was a good transparency moment about Epic Roller Coasters. And a big thanks to the members of the channel who keep us going. ItCat, I'm Gluten Free, and Math Teach. Thank y'all.